Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. And let's meet an indie agency. We're going to Waikiki. Sort of.
Sort of. Yeah.
We're going to Ecuador. Yes. Roberto, co-founder, young hero. Oh, what's the temperature there now?
It's like 40 degrees right now. I'm staying in with AC.
Okay, so 40 degrees Celsius.
40 Celsius. Sorry.
No, I know.
Pretty much around 90.
So the way that we were taught, all of us of a certain age in the United States, was double it and add 30, and so that was based upon Bob and Doug McKenzie. So that's how we know the metric system here in the United States. Any kid of the 80s, that's how we learned it.
Yeah, we go so much back and forth that I have to remember to switch the metric system in my head. So
stick with metrics. Just stick with it. We're the only country that it's just like and it's funny. So brief aside. So I think it was the 70s. So I'm old. But there was I want to say, I think Jimmy Carter was president. So this tracks. There was this push to move everything in the United States to the metric system, and they started teaching us the metric system in school, and it didn't take.
It's so confusing.
No, it's very, very confusing. What's not confusing is that you've got this great agency. I want us to start, just give us a little bit of the background of how the agency even got started.
So, yeah, I mean, it's been now 8 years. So we love to tell a story, and it's actually fascinating because we haven't really, as partners, Nick, Zoe, and I, we're 3 co-founders, we haven't really started to share that story so much until like the beginning or mid last year. But essentially, it was 2017, 2018. Zoe and I were working together at Milk Studios, and we were collaborating a lot with creators that had nothing to do with advertising, but more about cultural events, fashion things, and stuff like that. And just being almost there as a fly on the wall, we started to realize that they really wanted to collaborate with brands, but brands were only seeing them as a media buy or just as a pay-for-play sort of asset that can help spread the word around a product. So we started to think around that time that there should be an agency that orchestrated everything between creators and brands. And at the same time, my longtime copywriter partner from all the way back to ad school, Nick, who was at 72 and Sunny at the time, was sort of like experiencing sort of the same themes around, are they creators, are they influencers? He was working on big campaigns for Diageo, for example. So we sort of started to brainstorm ideas, and if there was an agency and if we were to go independent and start our own shop, the 3 of us, how would that look like? So we started Young Heroes, a creator-led agency back in 2018, and we've stayed creator-led all the way until now. It's really at the core what has been the focus and the DNA of the agency, but we do everything from creative service to strategy all the way to production. So
it's interesting.
The last 8 years of Young Hero.
Yeah. So what's interesting is if we go back 2018, the creator economy, creator system in general was still a little early.
Yeah, only YouTube was really talking about creator campaigns. I actually worked on a freelance project with Co-Collective on the creator campaigns where they were sort of highlighting
Rosemary
YouTube channels. I did Hannah Hart. I did, which was the Drunk Kitchen. I did the Vice News.
You did Vice News. Okay.
All of that type of stuff.
So Co-Collective, was that Colleen DeCourcy? Was she there?
No, actually, I believe the CCO at the time,
that was a little earlier.
Our direct creative director was Xavier, who later on became a client on UGG.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember who exactly was there at the time. It was awesome, honestly, because we weren't really at the office. We were more on the ground in Williamsburg. Yeah. And it's funny because now Young Hero works a lot from that old Vice office building.
Yeah.
When we're in Williamsburg. So it kind of came full circle.
I love it. So you've touched on a few things that the agency does. So what would you say is one thing that the agency is best known for, if there's a campaign out there that you've done over the past 8 years that really stands out? And then what would you say are the top 3 core strengths that brands need to understand so that they know, oh, these are the solutions that
Yeah.
they can provide for us.
So, I mean, at the core, what sort of like differentiates us, I want to go back to the creator-led approach. And that doesn't mean we're not doing traditional creative concepting and all that. What it means is that we're leveraging what's happening out there in culture to really embed it into scripts, into the creative outputs, into the ideas, into how we develop the creative. And also the fact that when we put a team together for behind each brief, the way that we do it, it's almost as a casting role. Like we cast people who have lived in experiences that also reflect the audience we're trying to speak through each brief. That's, for example, when Lululemon came to us to do their Pride campaign in 2023, we had the entire team basically reflective of the community of the Pride LGBTQ2IA plus community in that team. And that's something that we do on every single brief that we do, whether that's in fintech, whether it's in sports and all that. We really have an endless roster of collaborators from strategy, but also creators that we like to bring into the brainstorm rooms to make sure that we're creating work that will resonate ultimately with the audience. And yeah, I mean, the three core strengths, I would say, again, the creator-led approach to our development. Number two, really using those cultural insights into something as easy as embedding it into a script, all the way to like literally making an idea or like the output of a concept based on that cultural insights that a niche group of within the audience will actually have a direct connection to. And not least, as of the last 2-3 years, has been our seamless sort of integration of production into the work. And that means that we work really closely with our directors or creators that eventually help us create that output of that creative iteration, and we bring them into the whole process. So when we're creative development, it feels almost like a pre-pro because our EPs are already telling us what we can and cannot do.
Oh my God, it's so helpful.
That basically narrow down the pre-production sort of phase to make sure
pre-pro. Oh man. it can be a monster.
And that means we need to be scrappy, with our clients and collaborative. Something that also differentiates us is that, when a client, and we've noticed that the brand collaborators really love about Young Hero is that you get access direct to founder. Like Nick and I are still art directors, even though we're leading the business behind Young Hero.
Oh, I get it.
And that just makes the whole work just better.
Totally.
And especially when you get access to the CEOs and founders in the brands also to be, getting into Figmas and like collaborating, brainstorming, and
We're an Airtable team.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah. So before we continue, I like the Kid Super shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I know you like football a lot, so I know you're an Arsenal.
I do. Do you have a team?
I mean, I'm Chelsea right now because we have a
interview's over.
They're Arsenal too with Incapié.
So. I'm Arsenal guy. So. Yeah. I see. Which Jordan is that behind you?
I believe these are Jordan 3s. I got them when I worked. When I worked on Nike at RGA.
Did you work on the sport band?
No, I did not. That was before my time. But I worked on the 2016 All-Star game, which was the best All-Star game in Toronto.
Yeah.
And these were re-released at the OVO Jordan collab.
I like that. Okay, so you got an Oreo cookie. Did you work with Mondelez on something?
Well, Nick and I did the Oreo blackout tweet, and he gave me that as a present. So
are you shitting me?
Yeah.
So you're the one. Whoa. Wait 1 second here. So if I'm to get this correct, you are the one that's responsible for millions of thought pieces.
Well, me, Mike Nuzzo, Adam Glue, Nick.
Okay, so I have found the source. So for those of you who would like to file your complaints about the millions of thought pieces on Dunk in the Dark.
Yep, I can tell you all the story. Like I literally found the file the other day on my hard drive, and I always joke with Nick because there's a mistake in the actual file because we basically had all these like assets that Adam Glue handed to me, and Nick and I, we'll go on a Sunday to work. And there was a lot of ideas that they were sending back and forth to how we should represent that moment. And so we're like, let's just make it dark. All our templates are white background. So, and literally the actual copy and the little logo were blue, and I quickly did like an color overlay.
Oh
and
my
literally
God.
it was so fast that I think it's like a 96% white, so you can see a little bit of blue.
Okay. You know what?
Pretty funny.
You know what? We'll do a show on that.
Let's do it.
We'll do a show on
I mean,
Dunkin'.
it's coming up again, and
Yeah,
it's funny because we have a feeling that after years since 2013, we're probably going to be working again on a Sunday next time.
I used to be the one that did the live reviews on Adweek.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. This is the nice little aside here, but okay, this is great. Let's talk about being independent. Why is it important for you and your team to be independent?
I mean, honestly, first of all, it's what's allowed us to keep the vision of what we set out Young Hero to be pure, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like it's really what having no worries around who we're reporting to, like as the three co-founders. This is our baby, our thing. It allows the agency to be creative first, and that I think is also why a lot of people, our collaborators, freelancers, and our full-time team love working with us. It's being indie is important just because of the freedom that we have as creatives. Mm-hmm. So that's a number one answer.
Having a level of freedom does allow for exploration, which allows for great thinking, which allows for great creativity. Yeah. Great creativity equals great results, which is what we call a professional broadcast segue into the next question. What's the main reason a brand should work with you?
Well, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I think that direct to founder access. Yeah. We don't just go to a new business call and then we sign contracts and then all of a sudden we disappear. We literally are right there. Like it's not like we're selective with the amount of clients that we have, but like we're able to scale because of the network and the experience we have with all the agencies that the three of us have under our belt. Like with Nick being 5 years at 72 and Sunny, we get access to the best strategists. With me going on my own to work at RGA, even though Nick and I work together at 360i and Ogilvy, right. Our network just expanded in a way that we're easily able to scale, but we also don't have, kind of like all that overhead that because we have all these people full time, that allows us to cast, as I was saying, the teams of experts that are perfect for that brief. So like when we get a brief from a client, and it can be the same client, but a brief can have completely different sort of ways. We prefer to really bring people who understand, have lived experiences with the brief so that we can extract the best insights and then obviously make the output a lot better. So direct to founder and also the way that we cast for the projects.
Casting is such a great term, and that's the same with talent. And I'll ask you about talent here in a second because casting is such a great approach to a lot of this. I want to stick with the brand side though. I'd love to, because you've been around for a minute. 8 years. I mean, that's a lifetime, but it's marvelous.
It's the longest I've ever been full-time anywhere.
And it's yours. What's one piece of wow feedback from a brand? Like you worked on something and maybe it was in the moment, maybe it was during the process, maybe it was 3 months later where the client CMO came back and was like, that was really, really great.
I would have to go back to the first big client that we had, which was Lonely Whale, and it's what they called our radical collaboration, and it's still true till this day. And it goes back to like whenever we're like putting a presentation together, like an investor deck that we did a lot of them for like Lobo 1707 when we were their agency, for example. It's all about the craft of design and also being able to sort of like digest really complicated information into very simple visual ways of communicating that. But whenever we are collaborating with a client, it's less about making the work or the presentation look perfect and more about like, are the ideas great? So like, we're scrappy when it comes to like the process of ideating, but once that output is there and it goes out, it's all about how we bring the craft. We don't waste time in the collaboration process of ideating, making the deck look pretty. We make sure the ideas are bulletproof, and then we make the output pretty with the craft and our collaborators. So that's feedback that we've gotten a lot, and it works.
Yeah. So I want to go back again, this idea of casting, which I really, really like,
Yeah.
especially with talent. So whether they are freelance, whether they're full-time, anywhere in between, why should talent be putting the agency on their list?
I mean, so a big advantage of Young Hero, and that for me has been even very therapeutic, if you will, because I was used to being in agencies and putting RGA. You get put in group one and you only work on group one, to the point that 1.5 years after, I only have one client in my portfolio. We work with such a variety because of the way that, social media and the campaigns and where the industry lies. Our work is extremely diverse through the roster of clients that we're able to collaborate with. That allows us to touch completely different industries.
Mm-hmm.
That's also why we like to, again, cast or curate teams that have experience in that, as opposed to having a bunch of full-time people, and then trying to figure out or understand different industries as we get the briefs. So especially younger talent that we love to be very close to, as far as like reviewing portfolios. In fact, I have the portfolio all-stars for the one club coming up. We're constantly meeting people and things like that to make sure that we're bringing fresh talent that also understands the world that we live in now. And before it was all about like, you need to be an expert in one thing and focus and be the best of that. I feel like nowadays with Gen Z and also the way that the industry goes, you need to be able to learn quickly about completely different things, but collaborating with people who are experts in that. So younger talent, when they see Young Hero, they have the ability to work in a very broad range of clients and get really quick experience from the get-go. And also the access they have to us as founders and our 20 years of experience now in the industry, it allows them to grow faster. We have this very awesome sort of collaborative spirit with our team, in which we let them fail. We bring them to, like, it's all about learning, but also it's up to us to be able to share experiences so that they don't fail in things that we've already failed, so they don't make those mistakes. Constant collaboration with them. And then the most fun, I would say, is the access we have to creators, that because we actually started Young Hero with a full roster of creators, and then we went rosterless to be more strategic about it. That doesn't mean we stopped working with people like It's Super or anything like that. It just means, like, again, being strategic. This is the brief. This is the perfect creator, rather than bringing the same opportunities to all these creators to see what actually lands. And a lot of our younger designers kind of like get to experience this sort of like role of creative directors by collaborating with musicians, for example. Corey, who started he's one of our full-time designers, visual motion. He's a slashy, what do we call him? So he sort of was able from the get-go to collaborate with Safaga, who's one of the rappers that came out of the Kid Super sort of hub.
I'm looking at the story.
And he's done.
I'm just ready to like
Spotify visualizers, album cover, design art, and things like that. The same for this other rapper called J. Kel. And it's great to kind of like, use our resources and our team for those type of projects, because it allows us to also try things out that maybe are not proper for a brand project. So there's a very broad range of artfulness that you can bring into the different projects, whether it's for the brands or the creators.
I love it. I'm just looking at so much good stuff on Kid Super. I love this question, and I understand that, like, you may be more than one of these, but you got to pick one that you feel like, that's me. Do you consider yourselves weirdos, misfits, or underdogs, and why is that?
Oh, that is a fun. I mean, as Young Hero, Young Hero is pretty interesting because
so you're gonna break it. You're gonna break it into two.
I'm not gonna break it into two. I would say, depending on the moment or what we have, what we're facing, I would say we're either all of the above. I feel like it's all up to the moment.
That's a cop out,
because there's projects in which like there's this project we did for this carbless bread called Hero. I would say that was a weirdo moment for Young Hero. It's one of my favorite campaigns.
That's fair. Okay, I'll give you that, because usually people are like, we're all three, and then they don't specify. So
and then misfits. I think the misfits role for us is a great example in what we're doing right now with the work for Row, in which we're helping them sort of craft, visually, impactful stories with people like Serena Williams to announce that they're in GLP-1, to sort of break the stigma behind this, this sort of new movement in weight loss journeys, and helping people get educated into the different, layers of that sort of GLP-1 world, because there are some that are definitely for medical reasons, but there are also ones that are already being approved for weight loss. So like that for me, it's kind of like a misfit in like we're taking a little bit of like that sort of like aura to kind of like stand on it and be able to share work with people and creators who are extremely like, for example, when we worked on the Charles Barkley campaigns, Charles was writing right there with us the scripts, because there's a lot of references there that you can definitely write scripts in his tone, but you need to riff with him and create this sort of like collaboration. We brought Beatty, who's like a really awesome director in comedy that has directed Hulu shows and things like that, to really collaborate between Nick, who's obviously the writer between the two of us, and then with Charles, to really bring those stories to life in ways that are humorous and true to his tone. So
Inside the NBA still remains one of history's greatest.
Yeah, and we got the cutouts from one of our ads into the Inside NBA segment at like 12 at night during the playoffs. It was awesome. So that's definitely on our portfolio.
Those four, they're geniuses. All right, final question: whether they are a current client or not, which CMO or marketer do you want to say hello to?
Oh, I mean, I've loved following the Dude Wipes, especially Riley. He's like the founder, but I know I've been in touch with one of his creative directors in house. We do this thing at Young Hero that we create this thing, we call them generosity boards. So we create almost like an award idea in a one pager, and we sometimes outreach people like that just to say hello. I just love the work that they've done. We also got a chance to be at Expo West this year. That was the coolest booth by far. And then, lately, just being in Ecuador since we came here for the holidays, McDonald's has a special place in my heart, because that was my first client when I started working at Alma DDB.
Oh, yeah.
So that was my first official full-time job. This was 2006.
Yeah.
And I would always be working on like the Happy Meal campaigns and all that stuff. And lately we've been ordering a lot of McDonald's here in Ecuador, and it's just so good because they tailor the menu to the typical dishes here.
What's one menu item that's like?
So for example, for breakfast, the tostones, which are the green plantains, that's a major dish of Ecuador. They make the best tostones breakfast here, and they put the egg McMuffin, perfectly round egg on top of it with like Ecuadorian sausage. It's insane. So I would say another CMO would be Morgan Flatley. I know she's like the global McDonald's CMO.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
That'd be great.
A lot more for us to cover, and don't think that I forgot about Dunk in the Dark. We're going to discuss that later.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I honestly really appreciate y'all being members, and y'all just keep on keeping on.
Yeah, we love it. Starting the year strong.